and welcome to African Voices platform. I am delighted to have with us today Yejide Adewakun, who is the force behind BloomElle. BloomElle is a groundbreaking social enterprise whose mission is to shatter the isolation of African and Caribbean women in the United Kingdom. And it aims to build a powerful and supportive sisterhood within the country. Now, Yejide's journey from navigating life as an international student and mother of 2 toddlers to becoming a sought-after data governance consultant and board director fuels her passion to create spaces where women can connect, grow, and excel. Under her leadership, BloomElle has blossomed into a community of over 1,000 members. They offer mentorship, peer support, workshops, and vibrant BloomNBrunch events that celebrate culture and ambition. So I'm delighted to have you today at African Voices platform. Welcome here today.
Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here.
It's lovely to have you.
Thank you.
And always, as always, looking amazing. So thank you for gracing us with your beautiful presence.
Thank you for the kind words.
Yejide, there's so many accolades to you, but I would love to understand, walk me through your early experiences as an international student in the UK and how those challenges inspired you to start BloomElle.
So I was a lawyer back in my own country, and then I decided to come here to the United Kingdom for my master's, an MBA degree at Sheffield Hallam University. So I came here with 2 kids, and thinking back now, like, that sounded crazy because my kids were aged 2 and 3. But then, I mean, the pursuit for knowledge, you know, it's really important. So packed all my belongings into 2-3 boxes and then moved here. And when I got here, I don't think anything prepared me for the shock, you know, the change in environment. So I had left my comfort zone and I moved into a new terrain here without a support system, no safety net, no friend, family. No, I had a friend who I knew, and it was the reason why I came to Sheffield, right? But then it was just me and the kids. I had no childcare support or anything. So I kind of lost my identity because it was a lot for me. So I struggled mentally, physically. Some of the challenges I faced was a lack of access to information because obviously I moved into a new city where I didn't know anyone apart from my friend who obviously wasn't always there. And I'll give you a typical example. There was a day I wanted to go to the African store, and I had searched online for the address of the African store. I found it via Google, got on the bus, I ended up getting on the wrong bus, right? But eventually got to where I thought the African store was, and it wasn't there. Put the address again back on Google Map, and I was just walking in circles. Eventually asked someone who said to me, it's just about 10 minutes walk, but it was pretty much 30 minutes walk. And by the time I got to the store, it was closed and I couldn't get what I wanted. And I remembered crying that day. But yeah, it's that feeling of isolation. You feel very lonely. It's a different system and nothing prepares you for that. So all of that made me feel like there were other women like me out there going through that, and I didn't want other women to feel as lonely and as isolated as I was. And that's how I started BloomElle. And again, it's all from my background as an African woman. We all come together back home in my community, you know. We come together, we pool resources, we help each other. And I just wanted that tribal network where other women can feel supported and they don't feel alone on their journey. And that's how BloomElle was birthed.
It's such an amazing concept, actually. So you literally created a village.
I did. It's a tribal village. Yes.
It's a tribal village.
It is.
So tell me, you were doing an MBA at the time.
Yes.
Juggling toddlers. Two.
Two
of them. What personal strategies helped you persevere during those moments, those months? How did you get to? Yeah, how did you manage? What did you do?
So for me, I had to put in a bit of structure and routine, right? So I'll start with the structure and the routine bit. Being a mom, obviously, with 2 toddlers and trying to study was a lot. So I had classes and I had assignments and all of that. So I'd had to kind of create a routine for my kids. So for instance, I'll try to get them in bed by 7 p.m. and it meant I could do all my school assignment and all of that. And I used to wake up really early and then I will work. So I wake up as early as 4 a.m. a.m., try to get everything together. On the days I had lectures, get early, get the kids ready, get food and all of that, because lectures started at 9 and it used to end at 5, so it was really, really crazy, and you have like an hour break. So structure, routine, and I kind of started looking for pockets of community. So for me, it was like just having friends who were also moms like me, where we could like pull resources together. So if I'm watching your child today, you can help me watch my child today. So that kind of made it easier in terms of, because I made friends along the way, just meeting people, that kind of helped. And I think I also gave grace to myself, because sometimes the pressure is a lot, to be honest. It was quite intense, but I had to say to myself and remind myself, like, this is the reason why I've come here. It's almost like always thinking about your why. You want to advance in your career, you also want a better life and so many other things. So it kind of helped me to tap into that resilience and, just stay strong despite all the challenges that I faced.
So laser focus, basically.
Yes,
like,
it did
what am
help.
I here for? What am I here for? And what do I want to get out of this?
Yes.
Focus. So who was that first person that you met, and what was that you said, do you know what? Want to come to partner? I would love to create this village. Who was that first member? Or who were they?
So the thing is, trying to think, I think it was when I started expressing myself on my social media platform, because it was a lot when I moved here. I felt like I needed a space to just, vent and talk and just be myself. And so I had put that up there, and I don't think I was prepared for the amount of women who reached out and said to me that they were feeling the same way, isolated, lonely, and then they wanted to have that space where they can meaningfully connect with other people, other women like us. So I think we had a lot. It wasn't one person who joined initially.
So what did you call? You called a meeting? You called a get-together? What did you say in those posts? Like, what said, this is BloomElle's, it's happening? So
what I did was I made a video. So I talked about how I kind of gave a story about how, I have been here and I have pretty much gone through different phases. It's been lonely. And I thought, through my journey, I wanted to create that space, a safe space, most importantly for women who looked like me, who could relate to the issues I faced, like the lack of access to information, there's the cultural transition bit and all of that bit. So it was that video that I did on my social media platform. And to be strategic, I kind of created a social media platform for BloomElle's, probably my legal background. I thought, it was important for us to have that, proper structure for that. And then we created a form, and then we put that on our link on Instagram, and we had a lot of women signed up. I was saying the first week that we had up to like 50 women, which was quite very impressive. That's to be honest. And, within that space till now, we've grown to over 1,000 women. And what started from the city of Sheffield as moved outside Sheffield. So now we have women in different cities within the UK, and it's quite impressive. When we have events, people come from different parts, and just want to be part of this. And that's how you know that this is something that, everyone needs. A space where you feel like, you're seen, you're not invisible, and you're not, most importantly, not walking the journey alone. We're all about being the best version of ourselves.
That's amazing. Brilliant. So I describe BloomElle in my own words. If somebody comes up to you, what is BloomElle?
So I'll say BloomElle is a beacon of hope for women from African and Caribbean background. But most importantly, what we do is, apart from providing resources and support for women, I see us as that platform that is breaking systemic barriers, right? A lot of the women who are within our community are women who've moved here and, for instance, are in roles that their skills have been underutilized. And that's why we provide those kind of support and resources that we do. So we're breaking systemic barriers, we're tackling inequality, and most importantly, we're bridging opportunities for our women to be the best version of themselves. So either in their career, if it is, maybe their profession, or even if it is personally, whatever you want to do, we support you. So we have like different programs that we do. For instance, we have the buddy system, where it's more like you find a buddy either within your city or someone who is doing the same thing as you are. It might be in your career, and we pair you up with that person. And then it feels like you're not walking that journey alone, right? We also do mentorship. We help with interview preps for women who are looking to transition, say, for instance, into a tech space. So we've had a couple of women transition to becoming business analysts in the past couple of months. There was a a lady whose story, very touching, and she used to struggle to get a job when she moved here, you know, struggling with childcare and all of that bit. And we're able to support her. We interview preps and upskilling her. And she got a job as a business analyst, and she got a salary over £50,000 per annum. And I remembered when she called me, she literally was crying over the phone, you know. And it's those kind of impact that I see, you know, is what is
possibility.
exactly.
That's what a network like that one does. Yeah,
that is what is driving us. Yes,
it's incredible. It's incredible that that's what you're getting onto. I'm starting to think a lot more now about the actual stuff that I know you do. So I was wondering, like, so you have a network of over 1,000 women. I can't emphasize enough how amazing that is. And they're across the UK. So it's not just Sheffield. Sheffield is where it's anchored, but you have these women around the United Kingdom. So which program between the Mentorship Buddy System, webinars, or BloomNBrunch have you seen drive the most powerful transformations for your members?
I think it's the BloomNBrunch for me, and I'll tell you why. There's something about creating that safe space. So we're very, very deliberate and intentional about the kind of events that we have. So it starts from the ambience, you know, to the choice of the venue and location, to all the things that we see, right? So it's more like we create this event for our women, right? And we're also very deliberate about the kind of speakers that we bring, you know, up to this kind of event. So most times when women come into that space, they feel like they can be themselves, you know, and you're speaking to other women, you know, who've gone through similar journey like you feel like you're at home, you know, where you can be yourself. So I think for us, it's the most impactful, because then we have speakers who come to share different tips, you know, ask stories about themselves. We had one that we'd used the vast space. Someone said to me that, you know, they were shocked when they walked into the space and it didn't look like it was vast, because it was, you know, it was a circle. It was transformed, you know. But then we had different women come.
Have been there.
Yes, you were. Yeah. And it was good, right?
Almost, it was well adorned.
Yeah, and we transformed that space. We had food, so the food part is really important, because people want to feel like, you know, they want culturally appropriate kind of food. So I'm from Nigeria. We've got this delicacy called puff puff. It's like doughs, like, you know, small dough fried in oil. But yeah, we have food like that, you know. We've got drinks, and then we've got that space where people can connect and network and meet other women like them. But most importantly, they leave that room feeling more motivated to be whatever it is. I've had people say, oh, I came here and I was feeling really depressed, you know, but coming here and just speaking to other people made me feel very motivated to, you know, pursue my dreams, you know, or do whatever I want to do. So it is, for me, the BloomNBrunch events that we do, because they are intentional and they're deliberate.
You know, one thing about the puff puff, each corner of Africa has got a variation of that one, just differently. Like the Kenyans have their own thing, the Ugandans, we in Zambia have it, we call it vitumbua, but it's different as well. Then in South Africa, because I lived in South Africa a while, we used to eat two different types, but the most common one was Cook Sisters. But you'll be amazed just how much. I'm not very sure about the northern side of Africa, but that's
I feel like we have similar. Yes, I do agree with you. Yes,
it's transcended.
Yes.
So the buddy system itself, I feel like you were giving us a bit of an example of that. I'm assuming that's what it was when you talked about the business analyst network member that got. So can you share anything else, a story apart from that one that actually shows changes? And it's not just you doing that buddying, it's people within the network buddying up with other people, right?
Yes, it's people within the network buddying. So we kind of created, so like I was saying, we grew. And we realized that we needed a platform since we don't have a physical hub right now. So we have a virtual platform on WhatsApp. We're on Circle before, and then we moved to WhatsApp. And we kind of divided.
Before Signal?
No, we were on a platform called Circle. The Circle, It was like, because it was more like a tool for us to be able to come together. It's more like a Facebook, but not Facebook, But a lot of the women struggled with that technology. They said they were not getting notifications, and it was quite expensive to maintain that. So we moved from the Circle to using WhatsApp, which is very easy for everyone. I mean, once you wake up in the morning, you grab your phone, you know, and you're there, and you can receive messages and all of that. So it was quite easy. So we kind of divided ourselves based on chapters, different chapters. So we've got those in London and environs. We've got South Yorkshire for those in Sheffield and environs, you know, Manchester and all of that base. So divided everyone. And one particular story that came to mind is one of our members who had reached out. She was going through postpartum depression. It was really bad. Her partner was working in Scotland. So it was just her and her baby. Her mom sadly was denied
Where was she
visa.
based? So her partner was in Scotland.
In Scotland, she lives in Liverpool, and her mom was denied visa to come help with the baby. So it was just her and the baby, and she developed postpartum depression that was really bad. So one of the things that we did was to pair her with a buddy. And why I love the women in the BloomElle's community, by the way, I don't know how we did it, but we have amazing women in the BloomElle's community.
You know,
just willing to, you know, and we had her buddy went all the way, you know, that day to visit her. We'd had the chapter lead for her chapter go all the way because she lived in Manchester. So she went all the way. And she said to me, she was like, it was the fact that she didn't feel lonely or alone. A lot of BloomElle's members, as soon as they heard who were in her, you know, chapter, they all just reached out with gifts, visiting, helping with the baby. Someone went there, stayed there for like half of the day, you know, so she could sleep, you know, with the baby. And she said to me that was quite, you know, very refreshing for her, you know, just knowing that you don't have to do life alone, you know, did help. And, you know, she'd taken maternity leave, obviously, but she said to me by the time she was going back to work, you know, felt very refreshed, you know, obviously she wasn't no longer dealing with postpartum depression. And she just felt like, you know, she could be the best version of herself, you know, in her career and also being a mom. So that's how, you know, impactful the buddy system can be. And, you know, we just keep replicating that. We also do that in events. When we have events, we have conversations regarding if you're there, if you don't have a buddy, we also pair you up because sometimes you might want a buddy who is not just only living in your area, but someone who's living, you know, or who is doing the same career as you. So someone recently shared another story, like a success story with me. She lives in Worksop. She'd met someone in London, a buddy. Hey. They met over this the last school holiday. She said to me, she did like a testimonial that she dropped saying, you know, it was really amazing. This lady they've never met before, but they just clicked. She was really amazing, helped with her kids and all of that. But, you know, and also she was trying to get a job. So this person helped her with interview preps, went through, you know, likely interview questions, helped her to sort out her CV, you know, even said it was fine. She could watch her children while she, you know, went for interviews and all of that. So that's the impact of the buddy system. Because for us as women,
most communities in Africa, I mean, let me stereotype the whole continent, but at least I can relate to some of that from the places I've lived in Africa, where you literally have the community around you. You're never really going to be a mother on your own.
Exactly.
It's everybody who is a parent to a child.
It takes a village to raise a child, to be honest.
And you know, if Ursula was here, Ursula would have said, I get upset because nobody finishes that. It takes a village to raise a child. And something. And
I must confess, I don't know the other bit of it, but we say it takes a village to raise a child, yes.
Yeah. You know, when you're talking about postpartum, I was thinking about your webinars as well, because you host a few of those. It's webinars and workshops, so they cover everything from mental health and to career growth. How do you curate the topics that resonate most deeply with the community's needs? There's obviously lots, but how do you do it?
We listen actually. So most of our webinars are community led. We do polls, you know, within the community, asking for feedback in terms of what they want to leave, what they want to listen to. So I give you, and also we listen to the conversations because a lot of the women have regular conversations. So I'll give you an example. There was sometime early last year, changes to the immigration policies here within the UK, and majority of the conversation, a lot of the women were having, you could hear the fear, you know, in their voices. A lot of them were dealing with visa issues. So I'd had a lawyer, an immigration consultant, and a licensed, you know, solicitor to come talk to us about what that meant, you know, in terms of that. Because most times when you realize a lot of women are dependent, and when there are changes to immigration policies, it does affect us a lot. And it sort of increases the inequality that we experience and anxiety. Yeah. So we'd had a lawyer just come talk through the women, we had the women. We had the workshop, you know, just talking about different circumstances and just providing legal support and advice for them. We've also had one time a couple of the women were talking about how they were struggling getting into civil service as well as the NHS. It's a different ballgame in terms of how you prepare your application for for
civil,
those roles. So we had
yeah.
someone just come talk about what that means. How can you go through, you know, the questions? How do you relate to them? How do you answer them? How do you use your practical experiences?
And you're capable,
Yeah.
but it's just that hurdle of I actually tried many years ago to get into the government, and I literally failed lamentably. So
Yeah.
it's nice to know that and that would be ordinarily that would cost quite a lot actually to get
To be
that kind of
honest,
support.
yeah.
So it's nice to have that available to the women, I think.
Without having to pay, yes.
Yeah. Let's talk a bit more about your leadership growth. So as a data government consultant and board director, how do you leverage your professional expertise to scale BloomElle's reach and impact? How does that work? Do they cross over?
They do, actually. So I'll start with being a data governance consultant, right? For me, it has helped me to think of BloomElle as a sustainable organization. So most importantly, what I do is to make sure that we're sustainable. So for instance, in terms of policies that we need, I mean, I feel like I had to go through all of that, just writing our policies because of our legal background and also because of the data governance expertise. So
do you actually enjoy that?
I do, actually. I do. The policies, I mean, that's literally what I went to school for. So I created our policies, you know, being able, and I think it's good because I understand what the problems are. And all of that. So it's easier in terms of drafting all of that. So it does help me create that. I also think that being able to use data in a way to be able to provide solutions to some of the issues that we have. For instance, there's a structure. I'd had to create a process flow, and it's my experience in data. I wanted to kind of create that kind of process in terms of how do you explain how people come into BloomElle? So from filling the form to getting into the community to being able to access our resources and support. So I created a process flow for that and just mapped out what our processes look like. And I think it's because of that experience. And also being able to use data to be able to provide solutions to the issues we have here. Yeah. It's part of the things that I have done. And then being a board member obviously allows me to be able to create a governance kind of structure for BloomElle, because again, the aim is for us to be sustainable, and we're looking towards getting more funding to be able to do our work. So it's more like documenting all of this right now, so that if we're facing funders, for instance, we have documented data, and then we have we can show that we have processes in place to be able to get funding for all the activities that we do.
That's quite important, quite crucial actually. So your BloomElle itself aligns with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals.
Yes, it does.
I think you that's the framework. And that's on reduced inequalities. So how do you translate that global framework of the Sustainable Development Goals into local action? For example, in a chapter, how does that look like?
So the way it works is it's more like we bring it into the grassroots. So like when we're talking about the immigration policy, right, it's about tackling inequality. The fact that that a change in immigration policy does affect the women and increases the chances of inequality. So we bring in a solicitor to come advise and prefer, solutions to all of that issues. And also, for instance, I'm sure you've heard about in terms of the disparity regarding the rates and salary that women earn. In fact, it's more like a disparity in terms of financial empowerment for women and, being able to build wealth. So part of what we do is being able to get experienced people to come and advise on that. So at the last, we had an International Women's Day networking event, which was really amazing, by the way, if I do say so myself. But we had a financial expert just come in and talk to the women about how do you build wealth? What are the things that you can do? It talks from savings to investing in stocks, the shares, and all of that bit. I feel like for me, those are the actions that we do to be able on a grassroots level, practical things,
shift inequality for women.
Workshops, those resources that we do. That is how we are making, we're writing our narrative, but at the same time, we're changing the story and making a difference in the community.
That's amazing. Yeah. Wonderful. Wonderful. Just makes me think as well that Sheffield recently launched the city goals, Sheffield city goals as well. I'm pretty sure that there's some alignment.
I was going to say, yes, we're also aligned with the city goals, and we work with a lot of, community organizations here in Sheffield. So like Adira helps us to be able to provide mental support for the women within our community. We have a collaboration with Sadaka and also African Heritage Forum. So these are the ways that we've been able to translate and tap into the Sheffield City goals. Yes.
Yeah, and also I believe you were also engaged in the cultural strategy as well. I think I have seen you
in some of the events.
Those conversations.
Yeah.
Then talk to me about the Emerging Leaders program that came out of the COVID BEMA 19 Action Group's efforts. I think at the height of the pandemic, they wanted to see a generation of young people that will start to take over some of these organizations. But those, if for lack of a better word, I think there was a leadership crisis in the way of who's going to take over ownership or leadership of these organizations that are led by the community. What's your role in that? What have you been doing?
So I'm part of the Emerging Leaders organized program, yes. And I'm currently one of the chair of the program. Yeah. And for me, I kind of feel like being involved in this has sort of like opened my mind and my eyes to the gaps, especially the systemic barriers that we face as global majority. Because meeting other emerging leaders from different backgrounds just made me realize that, you know, we all have like shared struggles, right? And it doesn't matter where we're from, you know, our struggles are similar. But I think most importantly, it made me realize that the response to some of these issues, the gaps that we see, the systemic barriers have got to be done on a grassroots level. And we need leaders, community leaders like myself, you know, to be able to address that. Right. So for instance, some of the issues that women, Black women like me, African women like me deal with. And if we're talking about the BEMA COVID-19, you know, during the pandemic, a lot of women, Black women and Black men obviously struggled in terms of being able to get access to support and all of that. And it's easier when we have organizations like myself, I mean, like, you know, BloomElle's and all of that in place to be able to help, to be able to translate those actions into like sustainable actions that people can be able to benefit from. I would say like part of the struggles is women. I was talking about women, you know, accessing healthcare can be really hard. And we've been having conversations within our community regarding what do you do? How do you defend yourself? How do you speak up when you go to maybe a surgery and you feel like a GP is no longer, you know, listening to your complaints and all of that? So these are kind of like some of the things that I feel like has opened my mind, just being part of the Emerging Leaders Group and thinking of how we can be able to deal with some of these issues, some of these struggles that our women in our community or even people within our community that are not women are dealing with, and we're addressing them.
Right. So thank you. The Sheffield Emerging Leaders program is also looking to develop you're looking to develop a training program of sorts, isn't it?
Yes.
And you want to make it fit for purpose for the next generation, because I consider myself an in-between, but like it has to be sustainable and it has to respond to challenges that are faced by people that are coming up into, you know, like the future generations. Yes. Is that what it's looking like?
That's what it's looking like. And I'd like to say that we're also shifting the what leadership will look like in the city in terms of diversity. Because if you look at it, like the more we have more people within Sheffield, like the face of Sheffield has changed, you know. You see people who look like me and you and different, you know, people there. And it's important as, you know, people from global majority to be able to see leaders who look like us. Representation matter, and that's what we're trying to do, changing what that is, helping in terms of sustainability for the organizations that exist in, for instance, like what happens afterwards, you know, who are the leaders that would be able to handle people within those community. So that's pretty much what we're doing.
Yeah, and it's also just to just emphasize, it's beyond the global majority led organizations. It's saying that people with faces like yours in the corporate sector, in the health sector,
in different sectors,
faces like yours on mine.
Yes, because representation matters. To be honest,
So it's
you want to see
just the organizations, that maybe learning institutions as well, that sort of thing, right?
Beyond that, yes.
I'm looking forward to that, and I'm
excited.
Once you've properly shaped that, you'll come back to African Voices platform.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing, when we talked about Adira and Ursula, the one thing that I forgot to tap into, and I would really like to hear more of, is you and Adira, BloomElle's and Adira, collaborated on launching a book, a guide to welcome newcomers to Sheffield. Can you talk me through that? What was that?
Yeah, so we had we collaborated with Adira to launch the Welcome to Sheffield booklet, and It's not just only a booklet, it's much more than a booklet.
Okay.
It also comes with a food package, which newcomers can access if they go to the Adira Hub. They're located at the Sheffield Interchange. But then it comes with like 1 month supply of food, and they're all culturally food, food that, because that's the thing, when you come here, of course you want to eat food from, wherever you are, whatever country you're in. But there's something about wanting that a taste of home, right? So that is what it's all about. So it comes with that booklet. It comes with that food, basket.
Right.
But inside the booklet, it also has a list of places that if you want to visit, say, for instance, churches or mosques for those who are of faith, where to cut your hair, or like beauty salon if you want to wash your hair, where you can get African food, Caribbean food. There's a list of all of that, banks.
Yeah.
I struggled, for instance, to open an account for BloomElle's anyways. But yeah, people sometimes struggle. I've heard people say that they find it hard to be able to open an account. So it's almost like what banks can you go to that you can readily open an account, because most times if you want to work you need to show like a proof of address, right? So it's more like you can get that from your bank statement if you open an account. So it just has a list of all of that. How to navigate that.
So how are we describing you in this context? Who are we? Is it people who are coming from outside of Sheffield, or is it people coming from outside the UK?
So that's a very important question, actually. So I think it's for people not just only coming outside of Sheffield, but also coming outside the UK. So I think it would apply to them, because not everyone, the people who've lived, say, for instance, in London for a long time and they've decided to move to Sheffield, right? But then they don't know Sheffield, they don't know places to get things. So I think it would apply to both those who are moving newly into the UK and those who are moving from a different city into the city of Sheffield. But whatever it is, it's more to make you feel at home when you come in here. You have that guide to be able to get all the information you want. And then you also have the book, the food basket, where you can get food that will last you and your family for at least a month.
Okay, and who is signposting? How do people get to know? So it's to Adira.
So Adira, yes, they've got their.
Go there?
So it's more like if you're new, for instance, like through us from the BloomElle's community, if you reach out to us, we can always signpost you to Adira. Or if you want to go to the Adira Hub, they're at the Sheffield Interchange. So I know they're open on Tuesdays. So if you walk into the office, you would get that package, and then you would get the full stuff.
Okay, so I saw too. I'm correct in thinking that you launched it in collaboration with Sheffield City Council.
Yes. One of the
do
partners.
They have a role to play in this? Are they involved in any way in signposting?
Yes. So I'm also aware that they have a program that is called New Beginnings.
Okay.
So it's also one of the ways where they Voluntary Action
Yeah.
Sheffield. So they signpost people to Adira so that they can access that. And they were also helpful in terms of supporting, because we had a launch event at the Sheffield football club, I think, somewhere at Hillsborough, and it was really amazing. Sheffield Wednesday, I was going to say, yes. They were there fully supporting, the launch of the booklet,
Okay, congratulations. I think that was a brilliant
That was
initiative.
a really good one, yes.
It was a brilliant initiative. So looking ahead, what are your strategic priorities from BloomElle's, let's say over the next year, new programs, what's up?
Yeah, so I think one of the things that we're thinking about is we want to have a physical hub, somewhere where women can actually see as a go-to place to be able to get the resources they want, not just only the virtual community we have right now. So you can walk in, for instance, if you're new, or even if you're dealing with issues, and then we're there to provide that readily accessible support and resources for you. We're looking towards that. We're also looking towards more events. So we have our BloomNBrunch, the type that you attended the last time. We have one coming up real soon, and it would be lovely to just have women in that space, that safe space that we've curated for them. Come there, have a good time. We also want to have a business fair where we have Black-owned businesses come together and come and showcase their products, the things that they do. We're working really hard on that, and hopefully we can pull that together in the next couple of months. So we've got a lot of amazing events, and all of them get towards not just only providing support, but just having that safe space where we can all just be ourselves.
Okay, that sounds amazing. I'm looking forward to coming to those. Don't forget to send me an
I
invitation.
will, definitely.
And then, so for local, apart from Adira, Sadaka you mentioned, which other local organizations and businesses best support BloomElle's efforts here in Sheffield, for example?
So VAS, Voluntary Action Sheffield, they've been really amazing in
Right,
terms of
yeah.
that, in terms of providing the support. I've met some amazing people. Helen, shout out to Pam. Pam has been amazing. Also African Heritage Forum, Sonia has been amazing.
Gail, yeah.
Sonia Gail is amazing. She's helped in terms of supporting us. You have been an amazing support. Yeah, so thank you for all that you do for our community, you know, not just spreading the word, but just being able to connect us to different people. I think we talked about our Adira Osla is amazing. Yeah, just being able to get that kind of support is really good. Just thinking if I haven't missed anyone out. Yeah. I think we mentioned Sadaka already. So those are the organizations that we've been working with, and it's just been really great to just get that kind of support that we need for our community.
Yeah, brilliant. I also noticed at the last event that you have a partnership with
AfriX.
That's what I wanted
to
ask about.
Shout out to AfriX. So
I think those are relevant service providers for especially the demographic that watches African.
Yes. And I was going to say, so in terms of sponsorship, sometimes for our event, it's really hard, by the way, but AfriX is an organization that we partner with, and they've been really consistent and amazing. So they're a remittance company. The whole idea is to help you do seamless payments and transactions back home.
Is it an African-owned?
It is an African-owned, but now you can send money to China, to any country within Africa, and I think Asia, yes, but it is African-owned. And they support us in terms of our program. They also support the women within our community. I mean, I've had them reach out to say they have openings within the organizations, and you know, if we're looking for if we have any woman who's willing to fill those roles, you know, they're happy to interview them. And it's part of what we're looking for too, like having those kind of collaborations with other organizations who might say, for instance, have roles and they're looking for women, you know, it might be in the tech field, HR, whatever organization it is, you know, and just getting our women in there and getting jobs. So AfriX has been really amazing.
So you see, they stood out for me on one thing. I think we don't often shout out about, especially as diaspora communities, is the remittances that we contribute to our countries. And actually for Zambia, I know there's quite a significant percentage that is recognized now, previously not, that the diaspora community actually contributes to that. And so when you have organizations that facilitate that are African owned as well, I think that's quite impressive. It's quite a big step.
It is. It's more like you're giving to the people who use your platform, and that's one of the things I love about them. Yes.
Okay, So for women watching today who might feel isolated or unsure, where to turn, what message would you send them about the power of community?
So I think the message is that you're not alone. Because sometimes when you're dealing with whatever issues you have, it's so easy to feel isolated and feel like you're alone on your journey. So you're not alone. And that's the power of BloomElle. We come together, we're creating meaningful connection. You're meeting other women. So if you feel at any point in time alone and you do not have a support system or safety network, please reach out to BloomElle. We're happy to have you join us as a member. And you would have a buddy who will be with you and will be working with you as you navigate life here.
And how am I finding BloomElle? Where do I go?
So we've got a website where we have our membership form. It's www.bloomelle.org. That's where we have our membership form. So all you have to do is very easy form. Just fill the form, put all your details in, and we will add you to our community.
Is that a free membership?
It's a free membership, although I'm going to be honest, it's part of the things that we've been looking at right now, because it's getting slightly harder to be able to sustain our operations. And we want to be able to continue to do this for a long time, because obviously we've established that there's a need for it. But right now, it's free membership. So it's probably the good time to join, because our members get a lot of free, to be honest, like resources and support. Yes.
Okay, so it's just becoming that much tougher to
it is getting,
to meet all those.
The bigger we get, the harder it is to do that. Yes.
So Yejide, it's been so lovely talking to you. I wonder, do you have one mantra you want to share before we say bye to you today? Yes.
It's been lovely being on this platform. And I think one thing I want to say is, and this guides my journey and my activities. I think it was a phrase that was said by Gandhi, and he said, you can be the change that you want to see, and it's the reason why I started BloomElle, because sometimes we're waiting for something or for someone to come intervene, and provide, the whatever help it is. But then it's almost like if you're saying maybe you want good friends, be that good friend for other people. So and change starts from the little actions. It's the small things that we do, the little acts of kindness that we do. So it starts from there. So always remember that the change that you're looking for starts with you. And you have to be deliberate and intentional about making a difference within your community.
So like really be the change that you want to see in the world.
Yes, in the world.
I think I find that really powerful. Yejide, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You have had Yejide Adewakun of BloomElle Network on African Voices platform. My name is Chiwe Chihana. Thank you so much for joining us.